Hi, Christy. Let me know when you can hear me.
Hey there.
How's it going?
Good. How are ya?
Doing good. So, how's everything been?
It's been all right. It's been all right. It's getting warm again, so I'm
Yeah.
thrilled for that.
Spring has sprung
I
officially.
know.
We have
In
a bunch
fact, with
of
my
crocus and daffodils blooming
okay,
in our neighborhood right now. So, I'm like, spring is officially here.
I can yeah, crocuses and daffodils I can do with tree pollen, not such a fan of.
Oh, same. Yeah. Yeah, my allergies have been going crazy. So I've been,
Great.
outside walking the dogs and stuff. And then I come back and I'm like stuffy.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was so nice yesterday. One of my like young 20 something former coworkers and I were like,
Yeah.
"Hey, let's go for a walk on this fancy path they have in town."
Oh, yeah.
Which is great, but I
Right.
don't walk that much around my
Oh,
house. We don't like we
right.
live in the country. We don't have sidewalks or anything.
Hmm.
Um, and so we walked like 4.5 miles, and I was like, probably should have eased into that a little bit.
Oh,
I slept really good though, so that's
that's
fun.
good. Yeah. But then you woke up probably and were like, ooh, I'm a little sore.
I was like, well, I didn't know I had muscles there. Goodness.
That's fun though. That's awesome. It sounds like you had some good quality time with your
Yeah.
friend, got your vitamin D dose and
Yes.
got the blood
My,
pumping, so that's
I
all good
know.
stuff.
It was nice. Yeah.
That's awesome. How are the projects going? Like, where are you at with everything at this point?
They're okay. I'm waiting for another checkpoint
Sure.
review. We're starting the podcast this weekend or this week. On Wednesday,
Yay!
we're recording the first two.
That's
Um,
amazing.
I know, I'm excited. And I hope it does, like, I hope it is fun for us, but I also hope
Yeah.
that maybe it brings something that could be monetary, which would be
Mm.
nice.
Yeah. Well, let me know when you get it posted because I'll follow
Yeah,
you guys. I love podcasts.
absolutely.
I'm a big
Yay.
listener of podcasts and audiobooks. So
Yes,
yeah, I definitely will check it out. So definitely send me the link and I can like share it with other people I think might enjoy it and stuff too. So awesome. That's so exciting. It's happening because I know that it's been
I
something
know.
that's been kind of in the works, talking about
Mhm.
it, but planning it, but hadn't quite, fully
Right.
dove in yet. So
Like
that's
get it
awesome.
done. I finally had to tell him, I was like, look, dude, I love you. If you don't want to do this with me, that's fine. But can
Just
you
tell me.
please let
Yeah.
me? Well, yeah, like if you're too busy, I
Hmm.
get it. Like he's got a lot of things going, trying to keep, because he runs his own
Yeah.
business.
Right.
So trying to keep that going. And I was just told him, he's like, no, I really do want to do it. I was like, okay, well, we need to put a date
Oh,
on the calendar. Because if we don't put a date on the
yeah.
calendar, we'll never do it.
All
So
right.
yeah, but so we finally got that, and we'll do that on Wednesday.
Good. Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic. That's great. Yeah,
yeah,
and I love that you guys, I think it's a good use of time to, like you said, we're going to record two on the same day. Like, and I would probably recommend like have a handful of them made before you start putting them out, like plan
publishing. Yeah.
ahead. And then even if you're like, okay, we're gonna do one release a month, whatever you do, do it consistently. So it's like always every other week on Tuesday, or it's
Right.
every month on the first Friday. Something that's consistent so that
Right.
people are anticipating it and it's some kind of consistency so that it's something people can keep track of and be aware of.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll make sure I talk to him about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just consistency in whatever you guys decide to do.
Okay. Awesome. Um, yeah. So then I've just kind of been talking like I'm Australian again, trying to just randomly do that throughout the day.
That's
And
awesome. Yeah, just kind of
yeah.
keeping the practice going.
Yes. So I think I'm getting kind of good a little bit. to a point where people, like if you don't know what you're listening to, like if you're not from Australia, then,
Right.
but my daughter has people, she's a manager at a gym and she's like, Mom, there's the Australians that come in. You need to talk to them. And I was like, okay, cool. Let me know when they're there and I'll come talk to them because they have so many like funky little words and they shorten things in such weird ways. Like her name is Mackenzie, and most of, for Americans, most people will call you Kenzie or Mac or like her friends call her Z, which is cute, but the
Hmm.
Australians call her Macca.
Oh.
Like they're like that's the Australian name shortened for Mackenzie. I was like, well, that's a weird thing, but all right, whatever.
Yeah. So like those little nuances, right?
Yes. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
isn't that big of a deal when you're doing when you're reading, that's not as big of a deal, but like knowing that kind of stuff is a little bit helpful for me.
Hmm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
hey.
So then, yeah. So today, then, kind of reflecting on everything you've got going on, what do you think would be the most helpful for you?
Um, so I was thinking I found an thing that I was going to audition for, but they don't have like a custom audition. They just have like send us your reel, which is fine, and I have that already done. But it was for a like reading guided meditation things. Um,
Hmm.
and so I thought maybe for a little bit we could work on one of those just to get like that cool, calm, whatever voice.
Hmm.
And then maybe we could do a few more like fun, silly things that are more like focused on that accent work.
Cool. Absolutely. Yeah, awesome. Good. And then I'd love to know too, like moving forward, what are
Yeah.
some of your future goals? Because I know that you've got, these things in the works, but kind of looking
Yeah.
ahead, what do you think some of your future goals are?
Um, I really, I don't, I would love to start booking projects, but
Yeah.
I don't know what it is that, like, am I not providing the right kind of information? Is it just that I don't get to things fast enough? Like, I'm not the first person. Or, things like that that are just, like, I kind of think that I got into voice act. It's kind of like being like the last person on the block to start selling Mary Kay kind of a thing. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it just got really inundated with stuff. So if there's something that I need to do different when I am applying for things, I know like I haven't over
Mm.
the past, couple of months, I hadn't been applying tons and I'm starting to kind of ramp that up again. Um, and I'm presuming that it's normal just not to get any type of response if you audition for something and they
Oh,
pass over
yeah.
you. Not like, okay, like
Yeah,
that's
that's very
a
normal.
big
Yeah.
problem.
So what sites are you on right now?
So I have Backstage that I paid for because that's
Yeah.
really the thing that I've gotten.
Yeah, that's a good
Uh,
one.
yeah, anything. And I have voices, but I've never really been approached by anyone on there other than like callbacks for AI stuff, and I don't want to do that.
Oh, yeah. No, I
Um,
totally feel you there.
Yeah. And
Same.
so then like voices
Yeah,
went
you're
to
like any real voice actor is not going to train AI to steal voice acting
yeah,
jobs.
yeah. And I will say I've started seeing things that say absolutely no AI must be real human, blah blah blah. So that's
Mhm.
awesome. Um,
Yeah.
so I would like to make money doing that, but at the same time,
Yeah.
like as far as like our classes and stuff, I just really would like to be a good actor.
Yeah.
So, and
Absolutely. Yeah.
like
Are you on Voice 123? Because you can actually have a
yeah.
free profile on there. And the thing is with the free profile, a lot of it's going to be like invitations to things that people find your profile and invite you. So the more
Right.
samples you upload, the better off you are there. So if
Okay.
you have the free profile, and then they also have like time limits to submit, like you have to submit by this point, or we're only accepting 50 submissions. So when they email you and invite you, you gotta get on that. Um,
Okay.
but if your profile only has like a few samples, you're going to get invited less. So to make yourself more findable, more easily findable, like beef up your profiles everywhere with as many sample clips as you can. So something that I might recommend is like, go on ACX and submit 3 auditions. After you
Mhm.
submit them, upload them as sample clips to all of your profiles, and then go over to like Voice One Two
Okay.
Three when you're invited, do an audition, and then after you submit it, upload the audition as a sample clip on all of your profiles. And then when you're on backstage, when you submit for a project, take that audition, go upload it to all your profiles.
Okay.
And then like
Okay.
anytime you have an audiobook out and you have like a retail audio sample, use that on all your profiles as a sample clip, because the more samples you have, the more people will randomly find you and be like, I
Okay.
need someone who's XYZ. And then like you're gonna pop up and they're gonna listen
Yeah.
to it and be like, oh, I like that. And so then they'll invite
Yeah.
you to their things. So it makes you more discoverable, more easily discoverable.
Okay. Yeah, because I was kind of under the impression that if you did like a custom audition for somebody that you weren't supposed to take that and upload it as
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on the project. If it's, I mean, audiobooks, it's something that's already out there. Like the book is already out there in the world. You give them credit and you say it's from this. If it's like a show that hasn't come out yet, and
Mhm.
it's something that's like, like a TV show or a movie kind of thing, then you might hold off on posting it until the show comes out, kind of a
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Um, so my problem is I always forget. So like I never really post about commercial projects I'm in because I always forget. It's like I go participate, and my agents are always like, reminder, don't post anything about this till it comes out in September or whatever. And then like I just forget that it happened until someone randomly is like, "Oh my God, I think I heard you doing a lottery commercial." And I'm like, "Oh cool, yeah, I did that." Where'd
Oh,
you hear
okay.
it? Um, and so it's like funny because I just forget by the time it comes out, and I like never randomly find my stuff. So it'll be like randomly people will be like, "Is this you?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that is."
Right. And I
Um
was talking with my friend over the weekend and I was like, I feel like sometimes I would say like it's like an ADD kind of brain power or whatever. I'm like, I can get really focused if I need like if it's the last minute and I have to finish something, like I can get that focused, which I think is kind of normal. She was like, I think that you just have a lot going on in your brain and you're really good
yeah.
at ideas and you just, you know, kind of trip when it comes to executing everything. I was like, cool. Do you want to be my execution person? And I'll just be the idea lady.
Mm,
Like, I can just be the talent. I'm fine with that. So,
yeah.
I know like can you, I think on Instagram you can schedule things. I know on TikTok you can. Um,
Yeah, so the original scheduler was Hootsuite, which is kind of
yeah.
expensive, but I think there are like free or low co cost options that do the same thing.
Okay.
Instagram is kind of, so one nice thing about Instagram is like if you post there, you can set it up to post to like a Facebook professional profile as well at the same time, but you can use scheduling apps and things. So like a free version of Hootsuite. Let's see if we can find. Um, Odoo says it's free. Buffer says it's a free Hootsuite alternative. It's www.buffer.com. And like they say they're free, but they'll be free forever, is what they say. Um, so their whole idea is like being a free alternative to Hootsuite, but they do the same
Okay.
thing. So Hootsuite is like $100 starting cost, It's like
Yeah.
$100 a month, so it's like
Yeah.
$1,200 a year, which is insane.
Unless you're doing like tons and tons of business off of whatever you're posting.
Yeah. Um,
Because I know like on
there's
Facebook
also
business.
Sendable, Metricool, Later, Co-Schedule, Sprout Social, Agora Pulse. Like there are a whole bunch of different ones. But Buffer
Mhm.
does have like a free plan, and then their paid plans start at $6 if you upgrade to that. So this is like a
Okay.
little listing of some different options and like what you get out of each.
Okay.
Obviously, Buffer wants you to pick them.
Right?
Let's see.
We're the best, and you should know that.
Okay, cool. So the free plan lets you publish and schedule up to 30 posts, 10 per channel, up to three channels, which is significantly more than most other free plans. You can choose from Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Google Business, Pinterest, Mastodon, YouTube, Threads. So, so like you could say, okay, I'm gonna do Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube or something,
Right.
and then you get three channels and you get 10 posts, I guess like a month probably, I think is
Okay.
what that means. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's great because even if you just like posted once a week and it was consistent, that'd be great. And then they have paid ones, but it's like $6 per month per channel for essentials. If you have a team, it's $12 per month per channel. And if you have a whole like marketing agency, it's 120 per month for 10 up to 10 channels. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, like for an individual, what they have for free is completely enough.
Yeah.
Like you don't need more than that. And if you like wanted to post every single day and have it help you with that, you could do like a $6 a month plan. Um, so yeah, like I would, Hootsuite is really expensive. It's like 100 a month. I just don't think it's
Yeah.
necessary. Um, but what I usually recommend is like if people don't do something like a scheduler, pick one social media channel and then like devote yourself to it. And unfortunately, like you don't have to have a social media presence to be successful, but unfortunately,
Yep.
that's becoming more and more of a consideration and factor. Like I saw an interview with like an old school big actor. Oh, who was it? I can't remember now, but he was like an older man actor, and he was like, I was seeing that they're asking like, how many followers do you have on Instagram and stuff? And he was like, I gotta be on Instagram now. And like these people, they're like casting people, and he's like, they have no experience, but they have 1 million followers. And he's just
Right.
like, what? Like,
Yeah. What?
when did that become a
Okay.
factor? Um, so yeah, so I usually recommend like if you're not going to do a scheduler, pick one thing and devote yourself to it. YouTube will monetize the best of any of them. So if you were going to pick just one, it's going to monetize the best, but TikTok tends to have a very supportive voiceover community. So if you wanted to build more like community and interaction and like supporting other voice actors and them being supportive of you, that's probably a good bet. But yeah, I think, if you use something like Buffer, that could be really great, and help you just manage it well. And the cool thing is, like, AI can be helpful. Like, you could go to ChatGPT and be like, I'm a voice actor. I'm using Buffer. These are my three channels. I'm going to do 10 posts a month. Help me plan out a social media calendar for the year.
Okay.
And you can be like, here are some of the projects I'm working on. Like, what are some good ways to get more followers and like interact with people and like da da da. And then it can actually like build you a social media calendar for the year and like
Okay.
tell you exactly what to post what days. And you can even be like, hey, can you give me more clarity on this post for this day? Because I'm not really sure what to do for that. And then it can like write a script for you or like like write out your hashtags for you, like all of that. It can
Okay.
help you with that. So if you're like, I don't really know what to do, you can
Yeah.
actually use something like ChatGPT to plan out all of your posts, and you can like knock out a whole month at once. Like be like, give me my calendar, 10 posts, that are going to be for these three channels, and I'm going to use Buffer to distribute them so they all like scheduled ahead. Let's plan out the full month and give me those
Okay.
10 scheduled posts, and then it can help you with that, which is really neat. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
so
That's
that is a way that AI can be really helpful where you don't have to like hire a marketing team or like ask a social media
right.
expert. It can help you kind of clearly define that. And then like as you learn more, you can fine tune more and be like, yeah, that's not really what I'm looking for. Like, what about this? Um,
Right.
and yeah, like my husband was telling me he had a really rough like work thing and he was like, "Hey, ChatGPT, can you look at this contract for me? And can you help me find a way out of it?" Like was the idea. He was like, "I feel like they didn't fulfill their side of the contract and I'm trying to like get out of this really bad deal and experience with this not great company." And then like ChatGPT literally like went through and like categorized like all they were like, "Oh wow, this person is definitely a sociopath. They're doing all of these things in their emails." And they were like, "This sucks. I'm so sorry you're dealing with that." And
Oh
then
my
it was
gosh, that's
like,
crazy.
"Here are all the loopholes in the contract and ways that you can wiggle your way out." And so like they were like, "Actually, they are in breach of contract because of XYZ." And then like he was able to not even have to like hire a lawyer or anything, but just like write back and be like, "You're in violation of the contract per da 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 da," and like just be very clear and concise. And he was like, ChatGPT, like write the email I should send to them. And like it
That's
did it. And
awesome.
so he was like super emotional and upset about it, but like his responses were very cool and collected. And like ChatGPT helped him like work through things and respond professionally. And yeah, so like it can be very helpful
Yeah.
and like save you money and time too, and like give a reasonable professional response when you're very angry and that kind of thing. So
Right.
yeah, so like for planning out your social media, it could be a really good tool. So maybe
Okay.
using Buffer and like go to ChatGPT to help you plan out your social media posts. And you could even tell it things like, here are release dates of like when my audiobook will be out. And like, here are all the projects I'm currently doing. Like, how could I post and share about those? Like, it can
Right.
give you clarity and guidance on that kind of stuff. So, um, like obviously always read through it before you just like post what it says or whatnot. Like make sure it's accurate
Right.
because sometimes it's not totally, but it can be very helpful and give you clarity and help you like be more efficient. So that could be something that's like a really good project. And
Okay.
even stuff like ideas for your podcast. You could be like, yeah, I'm just like hitting a wall. Here are things we've done, but like I need more ideas. Like it could help you kind of brainstorm and stuff too, or be like, so I was thinking of presenting it this way. Is there anything I should tweak? How could I make this more like appealing to this kind of audience? And it can give you ideas. So, yeah, I think that could be really helpful. So, ways you can use AI to be like
Hey.
your friend, your like, whiteboard
Right.
brainstorm session buddy.
Sounding
Yeah,
board. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So that could be really helpful too. So, yeah, so
Alrighty.
then cool. And then yeah, so I really strongly recommend that you start beefing up your profiles. Another idea is like say you do an audition for a character or a video game that hasn't come out yet and you don't want to use their exact script. You could technically, you could take their script, put it into ChatGPT and be like, "Hey, I created a character voice. Here's like what the character voice is like. Here's the audition script I used, but I don't want to use their script. Can you like give me a script that's similar, but is not their script that I could use that character voice for?" And then
Oh,
ChatGPT could actually like make you a new script that's a similar kind of character, and then you can use the voice you created and then like post that instead if you're like, oh, this is
okay.
something that I can't really post. Um,
Right.
a lot of times companies will say specifically, they'll be like, absolutely do not post any of this on social media. But my rule of thumb is like, if it's like TV, film, video game, something that hasn't come out yet, I'm not going to post it. But if it's like an audiobook that's already out in the world, like a published book, it doesn't
Right.
matter, especially if you give credit to like a small excerpt and you give credit to the book and the author and everything, it should be fine. Um, yeah, but I mean, I sometimes will check with authors and be like, hey, do you mind if I post a little bit of this? Especially like if I'm working on the book at that time, but they usually like it because they're like, oh, good, free publicity,
Right?
Um, and you do a little post of some of it. Um, so yeah, like if you're concerned, always ask. But I mean, that's kind of my general rule of thumb is I go, is this something that's already been published and is in the public domain? And
Okay.
if it is, then it should be okay. But if it's not, then you can always revamp the script yourself, like rewrite it. You can always find a similar character script and then use the character voice you created. So there are other ways to kind of use that, or just put it in a folder and be like, use later, and then,
Right.
like a year later, post it. So, you know, and the thing is, a
Yes.
lot of projects never get finished and published, which is unfortunate. Um,
Oh, but
and so like especially indie projects, a lot of the time don't get finished and put out there. So like, I don't know. If you like have a rule of thumb, be like, put it in a folder, wait a year, and then post it. You should be okay.
okay. Yes. Well, yeah, because like that student film that I worked on
hmm
last year, the year
Yeah.
before, I'm still waiting to kind of I've
Oh.
finished my portion of it, but I
Well,
should
student
probably be
projects
like,
usually get finished because
yeah.
they're being graded on it. So typically those do get completed. I would reach out because you want to be able to use that like to post and put in reels and things. So I would reach out and be like, "Hey, could I get my like materials from the project or like can I get a copy of it so I can like post and use it?" Like my parts, put them on reels for submissions and things. But it's my guess that they have already used it
Yeah.
like for their student project stuff. So, but if you have your
Okay.
parts, you can just use them.
I mean, I realized that like in the end, we ended up doing like I just sent them raw vocals. So they
hmm
cut it and did whatever they wanted with it. So
In
even
which
if I
case you might want to get it from them.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So that you can share then that final completed thing and the polished stuff. But
Yes.
yeah, student projects usually aren't a big deal to share. Um, Indie projects or whatnot. My rule of thumb is like if they make a post, then you can share what they've shared. Um, and then like after it's out, you can share whatever you want. And then for like big company things, you absolutely do not post until it comes out. Like it was funny. I had a student who got into just like a community theater play and they
Mhm.
posted it to their stories and then their friend saw it and was like, take it down now. And they were like,
Oh,
why? And they were like, they have not published the cast list yet. You have to take that down. And they were like, oh gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. But they like had no experience with that. But even with like
right.
community theater, I was like, you can get kicked out of the cast if you do that. So
Oh,
like if
dang.
share some like if
Mhm.
you're like, I was cast for this thing, that's why like sometimes you'll see posts that are like, I'm so excited, I just got cast in a cool project. I can't tell you any more than that. Can't wait to share more later. And it's vague because they're like, I'm not allowed to tell you anything, you know? So yeah, like you can lose jobs if you share things before they're ready to share it.
Okay.
Yeah. Like if you were a model who like was on a shoot and then you did like an Instagram story, but you were wearing one of the, dresses for the line before they've put it out yet, like that would be really bad. You could get
Yeah.
like blacklisted in the industry, you know?
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So yeah, it could definitely be very, very bad. So yeah, the rule of thumb is just like if you're doing TV, film, characters, commercials, anything that's not out yet, just save it
Yeah.
for later,
Okay.
share it later. Be like, oh, 6 months ago, I was on set with blah 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 blah, or 2 months ago, I was working with these great people, and here's us in the recording booth with our headphones on, like, and be like, hopefully you'll catch our commercial on this radio
Right?
station or whatever. So it's it's tricky. That's where like scheduling ahead can be really helpful. Like if you
Okay.
know when it's scheduled to come out, you can use one of
Right.
those scheduling apps to just
Yeah.
like be like, get the post put together, schedule it for 3 months from now. Psh, there you go. And then you can forget about it.
Yeah.
I am not as intense about my social media. I don't really care. I try a little bit, but I'm like, eh.
Right.
Like there was a time where I was scheduling and like doing things and like trying to build it up, and now I'm just like, I don't
Uh,
really care to even be famous.
right.
I have a friend who has like a cult following for this little anime show that they did, and it like basically their whole living right now is like they're like, I'm just riding the wave the best I can. I have this like big fan base right now, so they're like, he's performed on Broadway and stuff, but he's like, oh, no one cared about that. But he's
Yeah.
like, everybody loves this little like mini series thing. And so he's like, yeah, I just like go to conventions once a month and make like 10 grand signing autographs and taking pictures with people. And he's
It
like, and
has to
that's how
be
I make my living right
exhausting.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah, so
mean,
he just like goes
you
to
get a day.
conventions for like
Right.
3 days and just like signs autographs and smiles and takes pictures. And he's like, yeah, they pay me like 80 bucks a picture and autographs. So he's like, that's how I'm making my living right now. And I mean, obviously he's still doing auditions and things. He's in New York and is like hoofing it, but
Right.
yeah. So he's like, hey, at least I'm not like standing on the sidewalk handing out flyers for other people's Broadway shows for 15 an hour or something.
That's true.
Or like catering gigs. But
Oh yeah.
yeah,
All those fun things, right?
exactly. Yeah. But I mean too, he's like, this will die down, so I gotta capitalize now
Yeah.
while I can.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, it's funny. It's a weird life, weird industry. So,
Yes.
but I mean, the thing is, as a voice actor, you don't have to be famous to make a living,
Right.
which is
Which
actually
is
really great. And I have been recognized a few times, like randomly, people will be like, "Oh my gosh, are you this person? Oh, I like saw you at da 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 da." And I'm like, "Oh, cool, thanks. That's awesome." They're like, "I saw you perform with this company at this place and this time." And I'm like, "That's cool, thanks." But it doesn't happen often, and I really am like, I'd rather it didn't. Like,
right. Right.
I'm like, I prefer to just be the random person who creates fun voices and have people be like, I'll be like, oh, hey, I have free copies of this. You want one? And like, them be like, wow, I never would have known it was your voice. I'm like, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm
I've
so
done my
glad.
job.
Yes, exactly. Like they're like, wow, I totally don't recognize your voice. That's you, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. It's like I prefer to be, an anonymous person, and that's okay with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think too, like voice actors, I mean, like even the animated thing, like most people don't know what he looks like. They just know the
Right.
song his character did and like it's like this really sassy attitude, like I don't know, like diva character. And
That's
it's
fun.
so funny because like my husband grew up with him and is really good friends with him, but I actually worked with him in the past and we figured that out because of this silly edamame song he posted on Instagram. And I like sang it one day when we were having edamame and my husband was like, "Oh, my buddy Blake posted that." And I was like, "Really?" And then we figured out we both knew him. It was really funny. I was like, I've worked with him. That's weird. But yeah. So like, but like, I think most people don't know what he looks like. They just know his character. And it's funny because I watched the show and I'm like, I don't even really hear him in it. And then like our friend Rose, who also grew up with Blake, is like, yeah, I don't, I totally forget it's him when I watch it. But my husband's like, I can tell it's Blake the whole time. He's like, I know it. I can hear it. But the character is really different than his like normal self.
Right.
And so like it's really interesting because like I bet a lot of people go to those conventions and don't know what he looks like until they get in line and meet him?
Right. Right.
So I think that's a cool thing about being a voice actor is like you just create a cool character and the character is iconic, but you get to just
Right.
be a normal person.
Which is amazing.
Yes, it's
Amazing.
amazing. Yeah. So yeah, we just need to get more for you out there. Backstage is
Yes.
great. You're paying for it. Take
Yeah.
advantage of every single audition you can. And I know that you
Okay.
have a lot of other things going on. I feel like
Yeah.
that's just, life. And until you kind of get the snowball rolling, like compounded effect, it is going to be a little more of like a hustle to get those auditions in. Try
Mhm.
to give yourself time limits on your auditions as well. So, like,
Okay.
be like, I am going to give myself a max. Be like, okay, I have 2 hours. I'm going to give myself a max of 30 minutes per audition. So I'm going to get four in at least in those two
Okay.
hours. And then tighten that up for yourself. So, like at this
Okay.
point, I can knock out sometimes like 20 auditions in an hour, which is,
Okay.
I mean, because the thing is, they're looking at this is not your finished product. They're looking at
Right.
what are some ideas you bring to the table? Do I feel like you're going a good direction? Do I feel like you're someone I could work with? Are you, and contrary to popular belief, they don't know what they're looking for. So you bring a unique thing to it, your personality, your flair. So you read through all the things, you get an idea, you play with the script, you send it to
Right.
them and say, here are some of my ideas about how I'd approach it. What do you think? And if they
Mhm.
feel like, oh, heck yeah, I love this, then they're going to shortlist you. They're going to compare you to, everyone in their shortlist, narrow it down from like 300 to 10. And then from that to like three, and then they pick their favorite, right? And
Right.
if sometimes they'll even reach out and be like, hey, can I hear a little bit more? Could you read this section here? Like, and send you more
Right.
stuff and be like, and the character's really feeling XYZ in this point. So that's a good thing. That's a positive. Um, and even if you're shortlisted and you don't get hired, it's awesome because they'll remember you, they'll tuck you into their brain. They're like, I loved what you did. And then maybe 2 years later, they're like, you were so great. We just went with somebody else for that one, but we feel like you'd be perfect for this. So it's really a good thing. Um, but the thing is, it's just an audition. So it's a
Right.
chance to play, to stretch your muscles, and to put yourself out there and get
Right.
exposure and meet new people and get on their
Right.
radar, right? It is not a finished product. So at this point, it's like quantity over quality, which I know people
Right.
who are like, no. And I'm like, okay, if my agent sends me something, I'm going to spend like a lot of time on it and make sure it's perfect because they work hard to get me those. If it's from like an audition site,
Right.
I'm just like, okay, you sent me 35 auditions today. I have 3 hours. That means I have to get like, 32, I mean, sorry, 12 done an hour, right? And then I go, how much
Right.
time does that give me? And
Yeah.
I go, okay, 5 minutes each, let's go. And I churn them out because I'm paying for this opportunity and that's the time I have, you know?
Okay.
So I just get them in.
Yeah. Like a lot of the stuff on Backstage also is, I shouldn't say a lot, but there are quite a few that are just like send your resume
Yeah,
and
right. They just want
do it
to
locally.
know that you're
Not like,
interested. Yeah, so that's like what I would say, like an equivalent to like a cattle call audition. And then what they're
okay,
going to do is look at your profile, look at your submission. They'll glance through everybody. They'll discard everyone that they're like, you're not a good fit. And they'll narrow it
right,
down. And then they'll be like, okay, these 25 could possibly be the right fit. So then they're going to send you like a callback essentially.
right,
So a lot of the time, like in theater auditions, you'll go in, you'll do just an initial audition that you prepared, and it's just so they get an idea of everybody, and then they'll be like, okay, these five are our favorites. Let's call them back. And then they have you read something from the actual script. They have you interact with other characters. They look at the chemistry and how you play off of each other. Um, so that's what I equate to like going to like a conference and you have like 30 seconds to hop up on stage, give them a little bit of an idea of who you are and what you do, and then they go to the next and they see like 500 people in a day, right? Because it's just
okay. Mhm.
rolling them through. And then they go, nope, next. And then they go, that one could work possibly. And they're like, give them a call back. So then they have time set aside to be like, all right, schedule with us in these windows and they're like come back and they're like here's our actual script read for us so it's the equivalent to being like let us know you're interested we'll see we'll listen a little bit see what we think and if we feel like you might be a possibly a good fit for our company and what we're working on then we'll give you a call back which is here, now do something from this script. You'll send it back to us. We'll compare you to the other people we thought might be a good fit, and then we'll narrow it down. And so
Okay.
it's kind of like going to an initial interview with like an HR team, and then you sort of like keep getting passed on. You might do like 5 interviews before you get a job, right? And it's like, then you get passed on to this team, and then eventually you get to the person who's like gonna be your boss, you know? And so it's
Yeah.
like rounds of interviews, and they're just narrowing it down because they have so many
Got it.
candidates. Yeah.
Okay.
Like American Idol, they have you sing in groups of like 20 for like a panel that is not your people on the TV, right? And
Right.
then like they'll be like, this group of 20 seems like it's got potential. So they'll like pass that on. And then they'll be like, they'll narrow it down. This team will be like, this half of you leave, we'll keep these 10. And then they pass them on. And then they're
Okay.
like, we'll keep these 3, the rest of you leave. And then they pass them on. And then the next group's like, we'll keep this one, you two leave. And then that's the person who gets to see the actual like TV panel, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just a way of like narrowing it down. But the great thing is you set up your profile and you
Right.
select what you feel like matches the specs for that job, and then you submit it, right? So that's
Right.
their first impression. And if you have your profile all built up, it's really easy to submit then,
Yeah.
right? Like it's
Okay.
just like you click a button, you're like boom, 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 select, 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 send that off. And so I feel like that's actually really nice because it cuts your time down. So you might like do a little cover letter specifically for them,
Right.
but like you don't have to sit there and like audition, 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 like record scripts for everyone. You just say like, here are some samples, here's my headshot resume, cover letter for you, and then you're just like boom, and it saves you time and vocal
Yeah.
energy. So that's
Yes.
kind of a nice thing. And then if they feel like you're what they're looking for, they'll tell you and be like, hey, can you record some of this script? So I think that actually is nice. It will save you a lot of time. So especially with how easy it is to do submissions on there, submit
Right.
as much as you can, right?
Okay.
um
Yeah.
and then like ACX, you have to actually record an audition script every single time, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
Um,
And I would say,
um,
seriously, limit your time to 2 minutes. Do not record more than 2 minutes when you submit for ACX jobs.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Like if
I've
they send you a
um,
hugely long thing, do not send them a 20-minute audition.
yeah,
If they
it's a
shortlist you, they'll ask for more.
right, right.
Yeah. So yeah, people who are like, here's my whole book. I'm like,
Like,
thank you for
cool.
giving me the chance to look through it and see if I want to narrate this book. And, you get in, like, you can at least kind of look through it, which I kind of like, but I'm like, all right, I did the first 60 seconds of your introduction,
Yeah.
and then I submit
Hey.
that. Yeah, so max 2 minutes. That will save you a lot of time. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, so backstage, it's pretty easy to submit. Just do everything you can. Voice 123, just put a lot of samples on there. Build up
Okay.
those playlists because the more samples you have, the more people will find you and invite you to projects there. They're good
Okay.
paying jobs and they're legitimate jobs. So try to like keep an eye out for those emails and stay on top of that. Um,
Okay.
Build up that profile. And then
Yeah.
I actually know someone who had a bunch of profiles and he was like, I got so much work on Voice 123 that I just stopped doing any other
Oh,
sites. That's the only one they use now. And I was like,
that's
wow,
awesome.
that's cool. And he makes his whole living just doing Voice 123. I was like,
I
sweet,
usually
good
get
for you.
invited on Voice 123 to be like a Polynesian man or something like that. I'm like,
Probably
that's not
because they're just really struggling to find things. So they just are like,
right.
send it to everyone, you know? Um, but the cool thing is like in voiceover, you can play literally anything. And if you're good at editing, you can actually pitch your voice down. So if you can get the accent or dialect, you can then pitch your voice down and make it sound like a man. So if you can
Oh,
do that,
okay. Yeah.
then you can submit to that. So
I mean, I can't do that dialect or accent,
yeah.
so I'm
So
good.
it's yeah, it's probably just because they're struggling to find someone and they're
Yeah,
like, we just want to like send it to everybody and see.
right.
But so you're probably just getting like this the scraps, the jobs that are like
Yeah.
random leftover jobs. Um, but like I said, if you have a whole lot of samples on there, you'll specifically be found and invited by the person.
Okay.
So that's going to be like a real asset to you. So that's why I really strongly suggest you just start put like one new script on there every week at least. You know,
Okay. Okay.
just build it up.
I can do
Yeah.
that.
And even on ACX and other sites, like you'll get discovered the more samples you have on there and the more variety you have. Like,
Okay.
and if you were searching for voice actors, sometimes you'll find the same one, like 10 of their samples, because I'm like, I need this, this, and this. And it's like, oh, that person popped up a lot. Definitely want to check them out, you know?
Right.
So, yeah. So it's figuring out how to really like get yourself connecting with the jobs is really important.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. So let's refocus to your projects and things you're working on right now. So, what do you want to do first there?
I just can we kind of go through this just a little bit of
Yeah.
this like guided meditation scripts.
Yes. Let's do it.
Um, okay, let me copy
I
a
love those
little.
kind of jobs. I think they're so fun. And honestly, like I see like a lot of apps and like YouTube channels, like there are a lot of opportunities for guided meditation stuff. And if it's something you enjoy doing, you could even like start your own YouTube channel, like and start doing guided meditation and visualization and like posting it even, which could be
Yeah.
really cool.
So that's like what my sister-in-law keeps trying to get me to do that.
Really?
Yes, and
It's a
she's
great
like,
idea.
she always has these crazy ideas for me like that. And she was like, oh my gosh, you need to do a blah blah blah. And we were at our friend's New Year's Eve party, and it was a um what was it? Oh, it was a 70s thing. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, you need to be a 70s guided meditate whatever." And I was like, "Okay, you're really starting to ask a lot." Like this is way more. Um, so let me see if I can find this. She's such a mess. I'm like, "What are you doing, girl?" I was like, "What am I supposed to be?" She's like, "You can get on there and you can be like, hey, foxy babies and foxy ladies."
That would be hilarious and
I was
awesome.
like, maybe
So
we'll
it's like a
just create.
70s themed.
I know. I was like, but
That's
what do you even
cute.
talk about? Like, because she's into that ASMR stuff. Like,
Yeah.
she's really into that.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, I don't even know what I would talk about. Like,
I
what do
only
you
just
even
learned about that yesterday. I was like, what is that?
ASMR? Oh
Yeah,
my
I was
God.
like, is that like a weird kink or something? And people were like, no, it's
I,
like, I was like, what is this?
oh yeah, no, I hate it because I can't stand like mouth noises. Which my one
Oh.
brother-in-law, he was like, so you totally got into the wrong kind of thing if you can't stand mouth noises, especially if you're editing for yourself.
Oh, that's funny.
I was like, yeah. So when I listen to that, because they have those microphones that are so like
Sensitive, yeah.
sensitive, and that's what they do. Like they make the tappy noises and they like hold up their phone and they're like, or they like take a piece of cloth and they brush it up against the microphone and then they talk like this and they get really like weird. And sometimes like my sister-in-law listens to people chewing ice. And that is the most, so that's why like our first
I would
podcast is
hate
going to be,
that. That sounds
oh, I
really,
know.
ooh, annoying.
And so does my brother. So that's why we're like, okay, our first podcast is going to be about chewing noises and how it makes people angry. So Jesse can be I like chewing noises, and the rest of us will be the voice of sanity. That
Wow.
so yeah. I just like I don't.
That's hilarious.
It is. dude, what is your problem? Why do you think
I
that
love
that's
that.
okay? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like maybe like live ASMR could be better, but yeah, I don't know that it's for me. I'm like, I could just listen to some like ocean waves or something.
Oh yeah, like I'm okay with that. What my husband used to listen to, like they'd have ones where people would like pretend like they were brushing your hair and they would just show the brush and it would kind of make like a brushing noise. And it's on
Weird.
YouTube, so it's a video. And it would be like, your hair is so nice. I hope this is relaxing for you. And just like,
Oh, weird.
yeah,
Huh.
it's
To
so
each their
weird.
own.
Yep, yep.
My
I
brother
was like, you
watches
guys,
cooking shows and Bob Ross to relax.
I get that. I get that.
You
I
know?
try to watch Bob Ross to go to sleep, but like his
Oh,
voice is so soft.
yeah.
But then he does like the where he slaps the paintbrush to get the water out
Yeah.
of it. And it gets really loud, and I'm like, nope, can't do that. So I'll
That's
just turn
funny.
on like Frasier or something. I'm like something
Yeah.
I can just, you know,
Yeah.
it's quiet enough. Everybody's voices are fancy.
Yeah.
Okay, let me send
Cool.
it.
I love it. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay. So, um, I'm thinking that for the most part with these kinds of things, like it's very, very warm, and soft and almost, I don't know if it really needs to be breathy. I feel like most people are breathy when they talk. Um,
Hmm. Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know.
like probably softer, a little bit deeper, maybe. You could
Mhm.
have it be a little more airy. You know, like
So like,
tucking a child into bed.
yeah, don't tell my kids that. No, like we used to joke with our kids and we would sing like the Metallica song Enter Sandman, just to be
Mm.
funny. We'd be like, sleep with one eye open. Okay, so we'll begin with a few slow, deep breaths. Each time you breathe in, breathe all the way down into your stomach. Breathe in slowly through your nose and feel your abdomen and lungs expand with air. After drawing in a long, deep breath, allow your breath to flow back out through your mouth. Just let go of each breath, and with it, release any tension or stress you might have been holding on to. You might like to mentally repeat the word relax as you breathe out. All right.
Nice. Good. Yeah. So for this, I feel like you could elongate a little bit more. Think
Mhm.
about almost like a sung speech and the phrasing and the flow. Like,
Okay.
we'll begin with a few slow, deep breaths. Hear how I'm kind of like stretching the words a little bit, drawing them out, elongating the vowels, and it's like my air just kind of continues through the
Mhm.
phrase. Um, so think of it being a little more like stretched and airy.
Okay. We'll begin with a few slow, deep breaths. Each time you breathe in, breathe all the way down into your stomach. Breathe in slowly through your nose, and you feel your abdomen and lungs expand with air. After drawing in a long, deep breath, allow your breath to flow back out through your mouth. Just let go of each breath, and with it, release any tension or stress you might have been holding on to. I
Nice.
feel like at the end of those sentences, like I lose oomph, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. I feel like I
Do you
lose.
want oomph though?
I don't think I want oomph, but I feel like I lose any type of like maybe I need to take a breath somewhere else to make it a complete word so that it doesn't just kind of like
Because you're running
breathe
out of breath.
in.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
after slow. So like we'll begin with a few slow, deep breaths
Okay. Yeah.
and then breathe again. So just breathe every time there's punctuation. Let's try that.
Okay. We'll begin with a few slow, deep breaths. Each time you breathe in, breathe all the way down into your stomach. Breathe in slowly through your nose and feel your abdomen and lungs expand with air. After drawing in a long, deep breath, allow your breath to flow back out through your mouth. Just let go of each breath, and with it, release any tension or stress you might have been holding on to.
Nice. That was better. I like that a
Oh,
lot.
awesome. Good.
Yeah. How did it feel for
Yay.
you?
It felt better. I mean, I concentrated a little bit more on where I was breathing, which is good. Um, yeah, it felt better. It felt easier to get through the sentence.
Hmm. Nice. That was great.
Yay.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. So then, cool. So then let's see. Let's do, I mean, I feel like if you did it just like that and then you put like some meditation music behind it, it would be great.
Okay, I can do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Um, so, is there anything else we'd want to do there? Like, I feel like, honestly, I feel like you could pause more, like give
Okay.
them time to kind of think about what you said. Like, we'll begin with a few slow, deep breaths. Pause and wait while they breathe. Each time you breathe in, breathe all the way down into your stomach. Pause for a few seconds. Breathe in slowly through your nose. Yeah, so I feel like you can actually
Okay.
let it have more space.
Okay. All right. So we'll begin with a few slow, deep breaths. Each time you breathe in, breathe all the way down into your stomach. Breathe in slowly through your nose and feel your abdomen and lungs expand with air. After drawing in a long, deep breath, allow your breath to flow back out through your mouth. Just let go of each breath, and with it, release any tension or stress you might have been holding on to.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. What do
Awesome.
you think?
Okay. Yeah, I like that better. It's just that habit, like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't have to make all of these words sound different. Like it's
You
okay if
don't.
they're all kind of monotone-ish because that's the point.
For meditation, yeah, I feel like you
Yeah.
want it to sound very consistent
Right.
and you want it to kind of lull them into this very calmed space.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then I can record that. That'll be fun.
Hmm.
Yay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And that should, like, that one paragraph should be enough to do like a small clip. And this is my example, right? Like, or
Yeah.
do I say
I think
longer?
so.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Cool. Awesome. So,
Yeah. So then, yeah, was there anything else that you wanted us to look at today?
no, that was kind of it, other than just I'm working on my my little Australian accent work. Uh,
Yeah. So what are you feeling really confident with that? And then what feels less secure?
I feel like a lot of the times when I'm just kind of going around, I'm doing okay. You know, if I just kind of all of a sudden, Vendi, I'm gonna start talking to you like this.
I love
And I feel like I'm
that.
starting to get a better like more naturally falling into the like rise at the end as opposed to having to concentrate about it a lot. Um
Yeah.
and then every now and again I'm like, well, that's Cockney. So
Cockney.
I know, I'm like, that's not how that sounds. Um,
Yeah. I had
but
a
I
friend
think
yesterday at like a board game night who like started talking and I was like, "Oh, you're an Aussie now." And he was like, "No, I'm from across the pond." And I was like, "No." He was like, "No, it's
oh,
Cockney." And I was like, "It's not, but it's a great Australian."
right, right.
I was like, "It's really good."
Yeah. No, I think a little bit like every now and again too, I get into maybe like flip it with New Zealand, but I
Mhm.
kind of think that anybody who is from that area is going to know. Anyone who is a voice actor and works on those dialects is going to know. But
Yeah.
most Americans aren't going to be like, oh, that's definitely this. Uh, because they kind of blend a little bit. And I find
Yeah,
it I keep
they do.
my I sound not from being like the sound that
Mhm.
I'm kind of okay. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. That's a really good focus. Absolutely. Nice.
Yeah, so
Very nice. Good. All right. Um, so yeah, so what's going to be your goal then for this month moving forward?
sure. For this month, I am going to give myself 1 day a week to do like at least a solid 1 to 2 hours and try and knock out as many little auditions as I can and try to
Nice.
get slots and then take those and give myself a second day to give those onto the different media site or the different audition sites.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
That's
And that's
great.
yeah.
Excellent.
Yay. That'll be perfect.
Nice.
And then once we get our thing recorded, I will send it to you. Even if it's just the raw stuff and just so you can listen to it and be like, next time, do this better.
Mhm. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. If you want to send me anything, feel free to email me. And I can always take a listen. Like if you're like, oh man, I got like that callback audition or something, or like I
Great.
really want it to be good or something, feel free to email it to me.
Yes.
Or if you're like, okay, I'm about to post this guided meditation, like what do you think before I post it? That kind of thing
Great.
too. Yeah, feel free to reach out.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank
I
you,
think
Vic.
you're on the right track. So just keep doing what you're doing.
Sounds good. I'll see you. Oh, I'll see you next month.
Oh, yeah. Right. We need to pick our day. Let's see. So a month from today, do you want to do what would be one, two, three? Do you want to do the 21st, 28th? Do you want to keep Mondays?
Yeah, Mondays are good.
Okay.
We can do the 21st. That'd be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is this
Are you not
one?
going out of town for Easter or anything, are you? Because I guess that's
I'm
the day after.
not. Yeah, I have like later
Oh,
on, I
you have,
have a brother-in-law's graduation from med school. So that'll be a little
oh,
later. Yeah, but
oh,
otherwise, I don't really have any travel planned at the moment. I had done quite a bit of traveling the last couple of years, and I just was like, we have a puppy, and we're just kind of
yeah,
like we have financial goals. We're like saving up for things, and yeah, so we were like, we're not going to travel for a little while. So
that's awesome
I think
though.
that's okay. Let's see. Could we do 1:15 on the 21st Eastern?
Yeah. Yes.
Cool. Because I was
Yep.
looking and I was like, oh, I got MacArthur, Robin, and Walter before you that day. So I've got some
Mm.
other meetings and things going on.
Okay.
So, oh, and Sophia. So I'm like, oh, I got a busy morning that day. So
Good day, huh?
you'll be a nice, like, relaxing
Oh, good.
kind of, yeah. I'm like, that'll be nice to see you after my busy morning. All
Yes.
right. I don't know why it's trying to put it in Arizona time zone. That's odd.
Oh,
All right.
fun.
So I just put you on the calendar, April 21st, 1:15. I will see you then.
Sounds good. Bye,
All
Andy.
right. Bye, Christy. Have a good one.